thing that we handle, right?
Well,
Everything.
If we don't have data,
what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
I mean, you think about the critical nature of data. You want to do AI? I mean, we're an AI world, right? I mean, everybody's talking about AI. You need a lot of data, and you need good data. It's the basis for everything.
Welcome to Embracing Digital Transformation, where we explore how people, process, policy, and technology drive effective change. This is Dr. Darren, Chief Enterprise Architect, Educator, Author, and most importantly, your host.
On this episode, Edge Computing, a new frontier in data processing with Chris Pasternak, Managing Director, Cloud Engineering at Deloitte. All right, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Appreciate being here.
So, Chris, everyone that has listened to my show knows there's something interesting about my guests. Every guest is a superhero because I wouldn't have anything less. And every superhero has an origin story, a background story. So I put you on the spot here, Chris. You got to share.
All right. From the Midwest, grew up in Little Green Bay, Wisconsin.
All right. Go Packers,
go
man.
Packers. Actually live there now. Started in consulting out of college, bounced around quite a bit, and then had kids and decided to come home, be near family, that sort of thing. So that's kind of how we got the start. From a professional standpoint, been working with Oracle since the day I started work. Everything from ERPs to technology, middleware, through the infrastructure, and now into OCI and database.
Well, that's so you've always been kind of in that space, technology space.
Yep.
Born, bred, cheesehead from Green Bay.
Yep.
Do you actually wear the hat?
No, I'm sure.
Then you're not a true Green Bay Packers fan, right?
I think it's more the tourists that wear them.
Oh, you think it's a tourist? All right. Or the people from somewhere else, right, that are coming to watch the games.
Well, for sure.
So you're the guy selling them on the street.
I wish. I wish I'd come up with that idea because I think that guy is plenty rich.
So let's not talk about the Packers today, even though that'll boost my show ratings quite a bit. But let's talk about something I think is more interesting, and that is this whole concept of edge computing.
Right.
It's an important aspect of everything. Not everything can be in the cloud. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree. I mean, what we're starting to see with the need for real-time processing, real-time determinations, that sort of thing, has to be done where the data is determined, is gathered, is created. Because frankly, that back and forth of here's my data, put it in the cloud, get a result back. In a lot of cases, it could be faster and cheaper just to do it where the data is.
Well, I mean, but doesn't that go contrary to what most people think? And even all the cloud service providers will say, no, just put it in the cloud. We can process it a lot faster, and then we'll give you the data back. Why am I hearing different stories?
Well, it's funny is I was just having a conversation about this with a colleague, and he, pulled out the Wayback Machine. He's like, remember how mainframe centralized everything and we all had tummy terminals?
Yeah,
and everything
100, right?
And then we all got PCs and it all came back. Now we went to servers, and it's like, this is just the natural cycle of IT. And here we are back at the edge thinking about how do we do processing? Where should we do the processing? I think the interesting aspect of edge is the determination of what data really needs to go to a central location, especially you start talking about the volumes and complexity of data. So, take video graphics. That's what I mean. Those are huge payloads, and to try to move them over the line, especially if we're now talking about remote locations. When is that data going to get there? And,
wasn't 5G supposed to fix all that for us?
Funny about that, isn't it?
Yeah, right. It was supposed to, right? Unlock all of this, and everything's a sensor now in the whole world. I don't need processing at the edge. We were told that.
Well, and if I think there are interesting aspects of 5G with the concept that you create your own networks, things of that nature. I mean, we've done quite a bit with that, like in the defense and military space and emergency, and done some of those types of things. But interesting enough, if it was the end all be all, then why is Elon Musk having so much success with Starlink?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So it sounds like data is the issue here.
I think it is. I mean, it's the most important thing that we handle, right?
Well,
Everything.
If we don't have data,
What's the point?
what's the point? Yeah.
I mean, you think about the critical nature of data. You want to do AI? I mean, if we're an AI world, right? I mean, everybody's talking about AI. You need a lot of data, and you need good data. It's the basis for everything. So,
and you mentioned before the types of data that we have are huge amounts of data, right? Video, radar data, because I do a lot in public sector, especially Department of War.
Yeah.
They have so much data at the edge. And right now their philosophy is bigger pipes. We just put bigger pipes in.
I think in some cases, that's a remedy. I think in other cases, just totally unrealistic. Potentially thinking about, and I do as well, much public sector. You think about contested areas where we're looking at geospatial data that's got to be collected.
What's the first thing China's going to do in a war situation with us?
Right.
Knock out our comps.
Yeah. Well, and there was just a news article, just a story about that. Don't remember the publication, but we're pretty well aware that, if that was to be the case, we're infiltrated anyway.
So what that means then, and I'm kind of playing devil's advocate because I believe the same thing you do, is I got to push more of the processing down to the edge so I can make decisions where the data is collected.
Right.
Because especially at the tactical edge, or the extreme dynamic edge, where maybe I got a swarm of drones out there.
You can't wait for a response.
Yeah,
you need an answer now, and it needs to be reliable. And I think that's really the critical point. Now, if you think about, let's step outside of public sector for a second, oil and gas is another great one, right? Out on an oil rig. When one of those bits fails, I mean, that drilling capability is down for a significant amount of time. It's real world dollars. And
potentially danger.
Yeah. I mean, look at the, was it back in 2009, the explosion for the failure. Cost lives. So it's real. So I think it applies beyond just the obvious of defense and those types of things. I think it's real everywhere.
So why has there been such a push to just move everything up to the cloud? Then, if I can do this on the edge, has it always been that, or has it been too complex? The algorithm's too complex to run at the edge. Why didn't we just right up front just we just do this at the edge? Why not?
I think yes. Yes to all of it. Yes, I think technology's gotten better. I mean, every year, every 6 months, I mean, even faster and faster. We start looking at 2 years ago, large language models are going to save the world. It's going to be everything to everybody. Realizing now small language models are pretty powerful. Now that we understand it and we harness it, that can go out to the edge. That really wasn't a thing we were talking about.
Or object detection and vision absolutely can run at the edge. Right, on NPUs or VPUs. There's lots of specialized devices.
Well, and that's exactly right. Is the whole world of artificial intelligence and computing is just continuously evolving. And so when you get into that, Moore's law was great for a while. We've kind of surpassed that world, but it still holds true to the degree that we can pack a lot more to a lot smaller unit and be able to do more with that. And I think that makes a big difference. I will say, the push to cloud, a lot of that I think had to do with just technical debt organizations are saddled with the data centers, and getting to a point where organizations realize that that's not really my business. That's not my core business. It's not really.
So
my time
I'm
isn't
gonna outsource that to someone else that can run a data center, manage, make sure I have uptime, all that stuff, because I want to focus on what I'm good at. Is that what
Right.
you're saying?
And I think there is, edge is important. We're talking about edge. Edge is not going to replace central public clouds,
Of course.
or even replace people's data centers, because until we can get to the point where we can process everything at the edge, we're still going to need gobs of processing power to do big, huge tasks.
Well, it's hard to process everything at the edge because an edge device, one can be in Alaska, the other one could be in Hawaii. And if I need to aggregate their data together, how in the world am I going to do that?
Well, and there's
Without it going somewhere,
the complexity of data mesh, right? And so that kind of turns out a whole new story.
So I'm glad you brought that up because the complexity, edge adds complexity to your architectures, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So do you think that's one of the key factors on why organizations are hesitant to really take advantage of edge computing and these new architectures that are out there?
I think it's one of them. I think some of it is, there's a cost benefit to everything, and companies have a lot of stuff to do. Right? They do their core business, and then they got to do all the stuff to support their core business, and it's just there's a trade-off to do this or do that, and some of this edge stuff, maybe in the trade-off world, is not as important.
So, we saw this in the data center space at one time, where managing your data center or even managing things in the cloud were difficult because everything was done manually. And then software-defined infrastructure came into play, which made that much easier. I could do private cloud or public cloud. Do you see something emerging in the edge ecosystem where there's a simple value? Because as software-defined infrastructure gave us the ability to create an easy button to manage my data center,
Right,
and all my apps in my data center. That's why cloud was so successful in the end, because it was easy. Do you see us moving into a realm where I can have an easy button for the edge? Just right now, the edge is hard.
well, and the thing that's hard about the edge is centralization of control in a decentralized world.
Yes.
Fleet management. That's
what you're
simplifying of fleet management. It's got to be the case. It has to get easier.
Are you seeing the industry moving into that space, or is it being ignored?
I think there is a thirst for it. I think there are solutions for it. I think it's just organizations that are working toward their edge strategies are. I think it's when does the groundswell come? Because demand will drive.
Yeah, you're right.
Solutions. That's the nature of human race.
But there's other demands out there, right? Or there's other solutions out there that are saying, ignore the edge, just put all our data in the cloud. So it's stuck in a weird spot, right?
Well, and part of that as well is the age-old, well, what we do today is good enough. We're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Well, what do we have to? And so that's where you get back to the trade-offs. It's all got to be about the business at the end of the day. Technology is cool, right? We're all here because we like technology. But at the end of the day, it's got to support the business. It's got to be driven by it. Was this need and decisions? So I think as we start to change and evolve the landscape on some of these things, I think it'll adjust the thinking.
Is there anything that you would say, because we're in the same boat, we're trying to get people to adopt more of these edge architectures. What can we say to customers that are on the fence? You have any ideas? Because I need help in this space, because I'm like,
honestly, it goes back to the value story. It goes back to the business. It goes back to really driving what is it going to change? What is it going to really drive in the end? Total cost of ownership, improved revenue streams, or the things of that nature. So going back to the oil and gas and the rigs and all that kind of stuff, we could do predictive maintenance at the edge and alert right then and there that, whoa, something's wrong, or something's going to be wrong. Stop. I mean, take an hour to change a bit or take days because he blew it out. So
I see where you're going. So we got to find that pain point that they don't recognize might be there yet. Right. Find that use case where we can say, we can save you this much in revenue. We can save you this much in liability.
And that's, it's all about the value. At the end of the day, it's all about what value can you drive that is going to change our business.
And then we have easy bud on the technology side.
Well, and then there's that.
Right, because if I can convince them and say, yeah, well, that's going to take 5 years to do, they're going to look at me and go, I don't have patience for that.
Well, I mean, and here's the deal, right? I got to say it, right? We're at Oracle AI world.
Right. Now
you talk about the Oracle at Roving Edge, which is powered by Intel.
That's right. Yeah, there's the Intel pitch right there.
There you go. Got the pitch in. I think what's fascinating to me about the Roving Edge device is the way Oracle has basically packed the cloud into the device. So you have the security, you have the networking, you have all those capabilities built in, and it's the same for APIs and how I integrate and interact with it.
It's easy for me to have central management over the edge that way because the APIs are the same.
That's the starting point to it. So now it's the next
the beginning of that easy button.
I think it is. I think it really is. Now, what you do with that is where that's where the value comes in. What do you do? What are you driving? What are your problems are you solving? But I think that really is the differentiator in my mind to simplifying and actually delivering something that's useful that people can take advantage of.
So with the Roving Edge, this gives me the control plane. It really gives me software-defined infrastructure across the edge, right? Because I can provision applications at the edge and all that. That's my understanding of the solution stack. Is that right?
Yeah. So it gives you this. It gives you the same cloud experience on those devices, right? So you want to provision a virtual server to do whatever it is you want to do inferencing at the edge. So deploy the virtual server. It works exactly the same as it does in OCI. So what we've done is we've built a lot of solutions on OCI and then test them, validate them, put them at the edge. Yep, they work. Okay. And so it speeds up the development cycle. I don't need to have all these edge devices.
I love that because that speeds up that application development. Because you and I both know it's hard to know what you're going to have out of the edge. So you're always developing, it's crazy. And my DevOps is always tailored specifically to an edge device. With this, I don't care. Right. So I can develop in the cloud, can run on the edge and get the results that I expect because I've already run all of my stuff in large systems, but they'll run on the small systems just as well.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool from a standpoint of now we can start to take a look and say, what data do I not need centrally? Now we start to have a conversation about what's really important centrally, what's really important just at the edge, And if I lose that edge node, that edge device, does not having that data really actually impact me in any way? Because
So
the other
this is cool because this means I can start focusing on the real asset, which is the data. Because all the complexity around application deployment and development, all that complexity on working on the edge is taken away, simplify, so I can focus my efforts on what data is being collected, how valuable it is, where it needs to be at certain times. That's more interesting to me.
Yeah, we did a really interesting solution with Oracle a couple of years ago, where we took Kubernetes and hooked it all together with Rancher, and built it out such that I disconnect my device, I have a push of an update, and it just waits for the device to reconnect and says, "Oh, we're back online. Push the latest updates." So now you're in a situation where prolonged disconnection doesn't actually
in the military look quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the contested areas where, we are our own 5G network. Today, a lot of times what they'll do is go out on a mission, they have their cute device in is whatever it is. They bring that thing back, they get a new one for the next mission. And there's a row of people whose job it is to clean the device, wipe it, put new software on it, do all that stuff. And we just said, why not just wait for it to connect into the network and just push?
Yeah,
and so it's a really cool solution.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, you talked a little bit about the data. I want to drill down on the data. Yes. There are lots of different data architectures. I've identified like 8 archetypes of data architectures out there. Data mesh is all the rage right now.
Complicated.
Complicated. So what do I do? Because we've talked about how important data is.
Yeah.
How do I start even approaching a managed data plane across the edge? How do I start? Where do I get started?
I think as technology professionals, the first thing we do is we go to the technology and go, all right, let's go try these things, play with these things. I think the thing that isn't necessarily as popular or sometimes not quite as exciting to people is understand the data. Because what you can easily get sucked into is the concept that I need my data everywhere all the time. And
which is not true.
Right.
You and I both know that.
Yeah. So I think understanding your data profile, your actual data usage scenarios, what
you're right.
Really, it's
no one.
Well, there are people who love it too. We have a whole group of data scientists that are just geniuses. They love that stuff, which is cool for them.
I'm glad there's people out there that love it.
Yeah, that's cool for them. Not I'm happy to work with them. I'm happy to have them on my side. But I think that's really got to be the starting point. Is you got to have a handle on your data. Otherwise, you're trying to push everything everywhere, and you're wasting a bunch of energy, and you're never gonna have a solution for every possible situation.
So I like what you said there, because understanding your data sources, what data is collected at the edge, and then also what use cases are most important. So I love this concept because what it does is it turns everything upside down a little bit and says, instead of moving data first, let's transform data, which means I'm going to move applications first. And with the OCI now at the edge, I can push an application anywhere, and I can do it dynamically. Now, I can have some intelligence into my data plane, meaning I'm not pushing everything anywhere, except maybe I'm pushing the analytics out to where the data is collected based on the current operating environments.
Absolutely. I think
that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, it gets back to that conversation point about, use the data where it is, and then you can actually access, adjust, do the work on the data at the edge, and then send back your
Only
update. Yeah, only the updated, only what you need. And that's going
maybe
to help you.
send it to a central place.
There might be other nodes.
It might be
Right.
another node.
And now here we are at the mesh. So, but you got to understand that.
So you can't just throw a mesh on the top and say it'll solve everything. You still have to understand.
Right. Because, I mean, simplest example, can you imagine flooding the pipes with a ton of data
And no one's going to.
Well, A, no one uses, or B, you're waiting around for the important data because all the unimportant data is clogging the pipes. And we were just talking about the military. I mean, that's life or death.
And that's their strategy right now.
Yeah.
Is to push everything around.
So I think there's new thinking in these spaces. I think there's ideas that are coming to light in terms of being able to do that processing at the edge, really get to the important stuff, and then drive that data where it needs to be specifically. I think those conversations are going on.
Yeah, I get it, some of those. So
yeah, so it is fascinating.
We are changing culture.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an interesting space. I totally enjoy this space, and I think it's a lot bigger than most people recognize, because it's not just in Department of Defense or Department of War, whatever we're calling it now.
Right.
I can see it in grocery stores, FedEx, great example.
Oh, yeah.
FedEx, U.S. Postal Service, or any place, farming, agriculture, lots of edge devices out there.
Already, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so, this is the reality is edge is not new, right? We're talking about my PC from 30 years ago. That was an edge device.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But now I can manage that edge through a common control plane.
Right.
And there's data architectures now that we can actually talk about, where before it was, probably the biggest edge cluster I've ever seen was SETI at Home. Do you remember SETI at Home? No, you don't.
No.
Oh.
Tell me all about it.
Oh, SETI at Home was high performance computing at massive scale, like 2, 3, 4 million nodes. People put a screensaver on their laptops.
Yes.
And it searched for extraterrestrial life. And you want to talk about a distributed, not everyone got all the data. It was an incredible architecture when you really look at it, because it was sending little bits of data out everywhere to do the processing of the edge, and then aggregating the data in data streams as it came back.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm glad you explained it for viewers who don't remember.
Especially the younger.
As soon as you said it.
Yeah.
This goes back to even botnets, right? Malicious, right? Not what we really want to identify, but the architecture and the thinking behind it
are very
genius.
Yeah.
Right. Dangerous.
So what was old is new.
Exactly.
So like you mentioned at the beginning, the cycle of ET100 dumb terminals hooked up to the mainframe, to client server, back to centralized, back out to edge. We're going to see this propagate, and maybe the architectures will continue to evolve and get better.
Well, I think the one thing that we have to be smart about, remember VM sprawl? Remember when everybody went to cloud and all of a sudden we had
we got our bill. Oh crap.
hundreds of thousands of servers we didn't know about. Edge could easily become that thing too. I need one here. I need one here.
So having that management oversight, a common control plane, ends up being even more critical as we start distributing our edge devices out there.
And frankly, cloud has helped tremendously in that, from the standpoint of we've had to think differently about our spend, of course, with FinOps. Now we're tuned into that, makes it a little bit easier for us to watch out for tripping over the same mistake we made already multiple times.
No. Hey, this has been incredible, Chris. Thanks for coming on the show. I've learned more. It's fun to talk to another person that understands some of this stuff. And hopefully our audience has enjoyed it as well.
I sure hope so. It was great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Embracing Digital Transformation. If you enjoyed today's conversation, give us 5 stars on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube. It really helps others discover the show. If you want to go deeper, join our exclusive community at patreon.com/embracingdigital, where we share bonus content and you can always connect with other change makers like yourself. You can always find more resources at embracingdigital.org. Until next time, keep embracing the digital transformation.